right, so this is the last of the psychological series, unless we have more questions later on different things, and we'll just keep adding random videos to it. But this was my first game that I played against a master, and this is at the House of Pain in Atlanta, the Atlanta Chess Center, back in 2004 or 5. And so I'm excited. I'm like 1600, and I'm getting my pairing downstairs, and I'm struggling to find my name. I'm like, okay, I should be paired up, all right, going up the list, going up the list, going up the list, and then I'm like, crap, because I'm on board one, playing against National Master Klaus Pohl, and years later after this game, I was taking a class in gerontology in college, and it's the study of aging. So basically, I was supposed to interview someone older, and I was going to a tournament, and I'm like, I hope Klaus Pohl's there, because I got to interview him, and we got to talk in depth about his life, and he's an amazing man who's got some serious work ethic, because if you're a master and you're still maintaining 2200 strength and you're in your 80s, the dude like still gets up and walks like 2.5 miles every day. He used to run every day, but now his joints hurt, so he just does speed walking every day. He still stays in shape. He eats right, and I mean, cognitively he's all there. And he grew up in Germany, and during World War II, the most controversial decision that the Allies made during World War II was the firebombing of Dresden, which Dresden city in Germany, like Allies bombed things, and not just military targets. They were bombing, things like churches, bombing things like hospitals, places with a lot of people. He was a kid and was actually in Dresden when that happened. So you understand if you grow up and go through something like that, it's got to be something to change you. So a lot of respect overall to the man. And this was the first opportunity I ever got to play against a master. So, of course, you get that nervous excitement. And, this is somewhere he's been time and time again. He's got a young upstart in front of him. And he's playing black. So black's always a disadvantage. So how do you, as black, when playing against a young player or an inexperienced player, just get to a position where you can outplay him and beat him? So I played d4, and I mean, as you can tell from these games, I was going back and forth like every 3 to 6 months, playing either e4 or d4, or knight f3, or some mixture in between, like a King's Indian attack. You can kind of play it with both. And I was learning and adapting. My opponent plays d6, and I'm like, well, if I play e4, I can go into a perk, but I'm playing d4, so let's go ahead and go with it. And I figure he's probably going to go into a King's Indian or something. Like, good players will have a way of knowing how to transpose and get from point A to B wherever they're going. And in this position, I'm just like, okay, I have no idea what he's going to do, and he throws out e5. And now we have a psychological situation, because this is game in 45, a little bit slower than what you guys play when we go to Boynton, and you're playing white against a master. You have the opportunity to trade queens right here. Should you? Should you not? Because, I won't say that there's a right or wrong answer here. I'm just curious on the psychology of competition from what we've looked at so far. What would you do? You trade in a heartbeat? You're like, I trade. All right? Okay, let's do it this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We got 10 observing the lesson and 4 doing tactics or tank trouble on the computer. So, in the 10, I want all you guys to vote. How many of you would trade? Okay. Well, it's 5 and 5, which is interesting. All right, let me ask. Okay, Tyler, you wouldn't trade.
I wouldn't.
Why would you not trade?
Because if you're going against somebody higher, I think you should go for the throw.
Okay, if you're going against somebody higher, you should go for the throw. Now, also going along with that, with the rating difference, if I lose like 2 rating points.
Plus, it's probably better at in-game technique.
That's the key.
That's what I thought about.
The key, in case you can't hear it in the video, he said he is probably better at in-game technique. He did this because he knows he's going to be worlds better than me at in-games. Period. He takes tactics out of the equation and he just gets to play a game. When you're playing against higher rated players, they want you to go to end games because they have a higher chance of beating you in equal end games. That's what they want. You don't give them the opportunity. So the best move here, and especially for my d4, c4 players, would be knight f3. d5 is actually a mistake because after f5 he gets control over the e4 square. Knight f3 puts pressure on the pawn. So then he has to defend. And we get a position, like there's a few different ways. e3 was my old notes. So e4 and you play it like a King's Indian. Or I have a game against Grandmaster Zapata, who's very good at playing the Old Indian, also known as Ukrainian, which is g3, bishop e7, bishop g2, and you get a position that looks like this. I also had a game like this against FM Mark Ritter as well. So there's a handful of different ways to play. But then at the time, not having the experience, I'm like, ooh, he's not going to beat me tactically because I'd never even played against a master before at this point. So I was like, he's so much better than me. He's just going to kill me. And right here, I know these structures now because, go figure, years later, I'm a master and I use them to beat low-rated players. So I know with black, I'm very comfortable. Actually, my first win over a grandmaster, I played this opening with black on ICC. This pawn goes here, this pawn goes here, because it keeps all knights out. You castle your king by hand on c7, and then you develop your pieces. Knowing where the pawns go is 90% of this. Now, white, on the other hand, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just developing pieces.
Knight f3.
Yeah, I mean, you just play, that helps in there. Knight f3, f6, he gets what he wants anyway.
But I wanted to get my knight to g5.
So this is one of those situations to where you want to wait on, and there's a couple different plans here I will preface for white. I feel like g3 is one of the better moves because in a lot of variations, there's no way to trade this bishop off unless we go to h3. So you want to keep the knight on g1 so you can play bishop h3. That's a pretty common plan here because you want to trade off his good bishop for your bad one. Make sense? One plan. On bishop e6, I'm like, oh, he's attacking my e-pawn. I better defend it. e4. Much better would have been b3 because I can still go back to the correct plan of g3, bishop h3, which I had no idea what a good piece or a bad piece was, minor piece-wise, so no way of knowing. e4, c6. Bishop doesn't belong there. I'm just developing. I'm like, ooh, I can castle. Knight doesn't belong there. Every single piece I misplace. Bishop e2, castles, and this is something that happens to you guys all the time. You get fully developed and you go, well, I couldn't find a plan because there isn't one. You're just worse. Check. He goes right back. And after the game, we analyzed some, and he was like, bishop check was just a waste of time. I don't know why I did that. So I play knight h4 because I'm like, I got to do something, create some kind of plan. And I play f4. So at least I'm doing something. h3. And he's just keeping all my pieces out. Knight a4. Defense. All of his pieces are attacking, especially on the king side. All mine are defending. Not very fun. Takes. And now he's starting to double rooks. Use the h-file. And I'm like, okay. I'm holding here. Run away to a square that it doesn't do anything other than defend. A6. Get out of him playing B5 and doesn't kick my knight. So when I take, here's, it's not yet. I play rook D3. And he plays bishop C5. What would you play here?
Rook takes knight.
All day long.
Oh, he did.
Rook takes D7. Bishop takes, and let me show you how losing he is right here, how dead lost his position is. Bishop H5, takes, check, check. Bishop E7, only way to defend the pawn. B4, where I'm threatening mate. And right here, like say if he plays something like rook takes, I mean, after rook D7, you had a bad day. There's no real conceivable way out of this. You get moitorized.
Well, why did he say that and why didn't he?
Well, why do you ever blunder in a game?
People like that.
I don't know the time, but there will be games that you'll play that you and your opponent will have complete obliviousness to an idea that wins. Both of us missed it. I just took. Because I have the mentality of I'm just trying to hold on. And there's no chance now. He goes after the other pawn weakness. And I remember us both being low on time here. Some nice outplaying going on.
From him.
Oh, yeah. He played very nice here. On bishop D1. I'm like, maybe I could draw. Nope. Check. Game. So, main takeaway from looking at this, mindset. My mindset was holding on versus this player that was so much stronger. The correct mindset, though, is if I lose this game, I lose 2 points. I should go all out. Question?
What gave you the idea to go for the throat or like don't mind the rating?
Okay, what gave me the idea, and that's an excellent question, what gave me the idea of go for the throat and don't mind the rating, losing games like this? Remember, as we talked about before, wise man learns from other people's mistakes. A fool has to learn from their own mistakes. I didn't have a coach. I didn't have a master to work with. I had to lose games and learn on my own. I had no trainer. I had no coach. I had to figure things out. Losing games like this taught me to understand the rating system, to understand different things, that it's not a risk for me. It's a risk for them. And you have to continue to look that way. Okay, so hopefully this series was helpful in giving some insight from mistakes that I made that hopefully can head off to prevent you guys from making mistakes. Boss. It was a good one. I like this.